Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel that will change the way you see money. Today we're going to unveil a financial secret that the elite have jealously guarded. Get ready for a total transformation. Let me share a secret that, if you dare to apply it, will transform your life forever. Do you know how the world's richest people made their fortunes? 75% are entrepreneurs. 15% are investors. 7% inherited their wealth, and 3% are athletes, artists, and entertainers. And employees who only live on a salary. They make up 0% of the wealthiest people on the planet. If you want to learn how to manage your money like the top 1%, you have to understand what these four categories have in common. Think about this for a moment. Entrepreneurs propose businesses. Investors propose assets. Heirs propose capital. Athletes and artists propose unique talents. The lesson is clear: if you don't propose something, you become what is proposed. That's the key most people never discover. So, how can you start proposing things like the 1%? You have to follow the 25-15-50-10 rule. I designed this rule so that anyone, regardless of their income, can manage their money like the elite. The truth is, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how you manage what you make. I've used this rule for decades, and it has allowed me to build a large fortune, even though I started with no money and no qualifications. If this information is already blowing your mind, be sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more strategies like this. Turn on notifications to be the first to see every new video. The 25% for growth. Making your money work for you. The first 25% of your income should go toward creation. This 25% is what works for you. And when I say creation, I don't mean some fluffy thought about manifesting wealth. I mean using this money to acquire assets that will increase in value. When most people get their paycheck, they pay their bills, and the rest is spent on useless things they don't even remember buying. That's exactly why 90% of people are stuck without accumulating any value. It's a system designed to keep us in the rat race. We feel rich for a week, only to run out of money at the end of the month, waiting for the next paycheck. This leaves us with no breathing room, forcing us to work even harder just to keep up. This is, in essence, modern slavery. Think about it. Slaves worked without a salary but received food and lodging. Today, we work, we get paid, but our money barely covers food and rent. The only difference is the illusion of freedom. Once you understand this, you can start fighting back. Take the first 25% of your income and put it directly into assets. An asset is something that increases in value and puts money in your pocket. The idea is that while you work, those assets you proposed work for you in the background. Eventually, these assets can make you more money than your day job. You might think you don't have enough money to invest. But you have to find it, because the sooner you start, the better. Let me show you an example that will shock you. This is Lucas. He started investing $200 a month at age 20. And this is David. He didn't start until he was 30, but to make up for it, he invested $300 a month. Now, let's fast forward to when they both turn 60 and stop investing. Lucas invested $200 a month for 40 years, a total of $96,000. David invested $300 a month for 30 years, a total of $108,000. Who do you think ended up with more money? David, because he invested more. Not exactly. If we assume a 10% annual return, which is the average return of the S&P 500 over the last 100 years, the numbers change drastically. David's money would be worth $678,146. Not bad. But Lucas's money would be worth a total of $1,264,816. How crazy is that? Lucas invested $12,000 less, but ended up with almost $600,000 more. All because he started earlier. That's the immense power of compounding growth. That's why you should start now, even if it's small, because waiting will cost you more than you think. Asset classes, from safe to audacious. The first step is to choose your growth assets. There are many options, but not all have the same risk or reward. I like to think of them as a scale, from relatively safe and stable to high risk, high reward. At the bottom are index funds. Honestly, this is where most people should start. You're not trying to pick winners, you're buying a small piece of the entire market, like the S&P 500. You don't need to check charts or time the market, just let it sit and grow quietly in the background. Then there's real estate. This can be rental property if you have the money, or REITs if you don't. REITs allow you to invest in real estate without buying a property. It's like owning a small part of a building with a lot of other people. In the middle are skills. Learning a high-income skill is the fastest investment you'll ever see. I'm talking about things like copywriting, video editing, sales, coding, anything you can use to earn an income. Unlike properties, no one can take your skills away from you. However, they take time to learn, which is why they are a bit higher on the risk scale. Further up, online businesses. Things like dropshipping or selling digital products. These can make a lot of money, but they require a lot of effort, and you have to be ready to fail a couple of times before you find your niche. Then we get to individual stocks. Trying to pick the next Apple or Tesla is tempting, but unless you've done your homework and really know what you're doing, it's basically a gamble. If you're going to do it, keep it small and treat it as a hobby, not your main strategy. And right at the top are alternative investments. I'm talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, gold, wine, sneakers, you name it. Can you make money from these? Absolutely. Can you lose it overnight? Also, absolutely. I've played with some of these, but I never risk more than I'm willing to lose. These are your fun money investments, great to try, but not where you build long-term wealth. If I were starting today, I'd begin with the things that truly build a foundation, index funds and high-income skills. Then, as you become more confident, you can start to explore the rest. Are you liking this path to financial freedom? Leave me a comment below with the type of asset you're most interested in. I love reading your ideas. Smart accounts, investing without losing to taxes. Now that you know what to invest in, let's talk about how to invest. If you do it through the wrong type of account, you could be sending thousands of dollars to the government in taxes without even knowing it. That's why step 2 is to set up accounts with tax advantages. Just a reminder, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing what I've done personally over the years. In the UK, one of the best options is the ISA. You can invest up to £20,000 a year, and all your earnings are tax-free. In the US, your best option is the Roth IRA. You invest money you've already paid taxes on, but every penny you earn grows completely tax-free, and when you retire, you can take it out without paying any tax. The limit on this account is $7,000 per year. Even billionaires like Peter Thiel, one of the guys behind PayPal, have used this account to accumulate over $5 billion. Then there's the 401k, which is basically the US version of a pension. If you're not in these countries, look for tax-advantaged savings accounts in your region. Once you have them, step 3 is to automate your investing. The best thing you can do is set up a monthly transfer that goes directly from your bank account to your investment platform, ideally on payday. This way, you never even see the money in your account and aren't tempted to spend it. You don't need to trade or try to time the market. Just put your money into index funds. One of the most popular methods is to build a 3-fund portfolio. US Index Fund, this invests in many US companies, like Apple and Amazon. International Index Fund, similar to the US fund, but it covers companies outside the United States. Bond Fund, this provides stability because it's generally less volatile than stocks and helps balance the market's highs and lows. The 15% for stability, the cushion that keeps you in the game. The next 15% of your income should go towards stability. This is the 15% that keeps you in the game. Many people don't realize that not all your money should be put into growth investments or spent. Some of it must be set aside to protect your progress. I wish someone had told me this when I was younger. When I turned 18 and needed a car to get to work, I had no savings. I did what most people do, I took out a loan. I felt invincible, until the engine blew up. I had no backup, no safety net, and no idea what to do. On top of all that, if I didn't get a car, I'd lose my job. So I took on even more debt, which added more pressure and stress. That car didn't just break down, it broke my finances and set me back an entire year. If only I had had 15% for stability, I would have been in a completely different position. Most people don't have a money problem, they have a stability problem. One unexpected expense, and everything falls apart. That's why you need a cushion. Step 1. Calculate your stability fund. List your essential monthly expenses, rent, groceries, utilities, transportation. That's your base number. Now, multiply that number by 5 months. That equals the ideal stability fund you should aim to save. Step 2. Store it correctly. This money must be easy to access, within 24 hours at most, risk-free, never put it in the stock market, and it should earn a little interest to fight inflation. High-yield savings accounts are perfect for this. Step 3. Build it quickly. I used 3 tactics that built on each other. The immediate 15%, as soon as you get paid, move 15% directly into your emergency fund automatically. The replacement promise. If you have to use money from the fund, promise yourself to replace it immediately with your next paycheck. The roundup. Use apps that round up every purchase to the nearest dollar and put the difference into your savings. Those cents add up faster than you think. Once your stability fund is fully funded, you can then direct that extra 15% toward your investments. The 50% for essentials, the money that feeds your life, not your ego fork and knife with plate. The next 50% of your income should go toward your essentials. This is the 50% that keeps you alive, not your ego. Surprisingly, more than 60% of Americans earning over $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck, because they are trying to look rich instead of being rich. Let me show you what I mean. When I was 20, my friend Marco seemed to have it all: designer clothes, a new car. I, on the other hand, had an old car and basic clothes. But what people didn't see was that Marco was living on debt, while I had my savings and investments growing. Wealth is not what you see, it's what you don't see. It's easy to justify expensive purchases by saying, I need a safer car, or I deserve a nice meal. That's exactly how lifestyle creep begins. To keep it under control, step 1 is to clarify your essentials. Essentials are the things that keep you alive and functioning: rent, groceries, utilities, transportation. The daily coffee, forgotten subscriptions, and expensive dinners are not essentials. Step 2 is to decrease the 2 key spending categories. Housing. Negotiate your rent. Consider getting a roommate or even moving back in with your parents while you build your savings. Your housing should not be more than half of your 50% for essentials. Transportation. Car payments are one of the biggest wealth killers. People lease new cars for the monthly status and pay for years for a depreciating liability. I always recommend buying reliable, used cars that have already seen most of their depreciation. In walkable areas or cities, you could even consider eliminating the car completely, as it can free up hundreds of dollars a month. Are you ready to take control of your finances? If this video is giving you the tools you need, share it with a friend who also needs to see it. Help us build a more prosperous community. I would do it through a system of key questions. These questions stopped me from buying things I didn't need and helped me stay focused on the bigger goal. First, ask yourself, is this an impulse buy? If the answer is no, then go ahead and buy it. It's probably something you've been thinking about for a while, and, if it fits the categories we discussed, it's a no-brainer. But if the answer is yes, then it's time to use the 7-day rule. The trick is simple: pause for 7 days before you buy anything. After that week, ask yourself again if you still want it. Most of the time, the answer will be no. It's funny how you often forget all about it once the initial excitement has faded, and it wasn't that important to begin with. But if after 7 days you still want it, we move on to the next question. Are you buying for the brand or for the value? If the answer is, the brand, don't buy it. You're probably just attracted to the cool marketing. If it's an essential item, there will be a brandless alternative that will do the job just as well, or even better. Rich people don't put money into brands just because they like the marketing, they truly think about the value. What does that mean? Think about a $60 shirt you wear 100 times. That's 60 cents per use. Good value. But if you buy a $200 designer t-shirt and wear it twice, that's $100 per use. And going too cheap isn't smart either. A $5 shirt that rips in the wash is still a waste of money. The lesson is, don't chase brands, chase quality. If your answer was value, that leads us to the final question. Is this going to improve your life? If the answer is yes, and it's a conscious and intentional purchase, go for it. But if the answer is no, it's probably just about impressing someone, killing boredom, or chasing a dopamine hit. It's not worth your money. Once you go through this process a couple of times, you'll be able to decide if something is worth buying without even consciously thinking about the questions. You'll have your mind working in the right way. Remember, it's not about being cheap, it's about being intentional. The 10% for rewards, the sanity saver. The last 10% of your income should go toward rewards. This is the 10% that keeps you sane. Let's be honest, money isn't just about growth, stability, and essentials. You should also enjoy it. Most people miss this completely, and then they wonder why having a salary feels so pointless. As I've gotten older, I've realized that it's the little things that refuel you and remind you why you're doing all this financial discipline in the first place. This is supported by facts. 92% of people say they give up on saving after intense periods because saving without joy starts to feel like a punishment very quickly. And that's exactly why this 10% exists. It's not an excuse, it's a strategy, like having a cheat meal. It's the thing that makes your financial diet complete, comfortable, and most importantly, sustainable. But to maximize its impact, you have to be strategic with how you use it. Step 1, make it worthwhile. You can spend your 10% on whatever you want, but some categories are more valuable than others. The first category is vacations, like road trips or just weekend getaways. This is valuable because you're buying memories that last forever. It's also a great way to de-stress. There you have it. The 25-15-50-10 rule isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset shift. If you're ready to build a life of true wealth and freedom, this is the path. I hope this video has opened your eyes to a new level of financial control. Remember, it's not about how much you make, but how you manage it. Put these rules into practice, and you'll see the difference. Leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss my next video. See you at the top.